Say, did you ever wonder what really happens when you bury a shipping container? It might sound like a good idea, but please don't ever try this unless you have at least $4,000 lying around and are prepared to work intensively for a whole month. And even if you do manage to bury a shipping container, you'll soon find out that it was all for nothing. As you can see, the weight of the ground caused the curbside walls of the container to buckle in. Shipping containers are designed to hold a lot of weight, but only on the corners, not on the sides. Here's a closer look. And don't forget about the water. Additionally, what if the shipping container collapses and buries everyone inside? What if a secure shelter suddenly becomes a death trap for you and your entire family? Luckily, there is a better way to have a root cellar in your backyard and to protect your life, your family, and your stockpiles in the next crisis. Way better, way cheaper, way safer, but most importantly, way easier than burying a shipping container. And it's also waterproof, so no matter how close the water table is, it won't make one bit of difference. In this short presentation, I will reveal this ingenious method for building a unique kind of root cellar in your backyard, or even under your house, that can protect you and your family from disasters like famines, hurricanes, EMPs, looters, tornadoes, bullets, and even the radioactive fallout that follows a nuclear blast. Most importantly, it will preserve your water and food reserves year-round without refrigeration, just like our grandparents' root cellars. But it's a lot easier to build. That is because they didn't have access to one thing that we now have in abundance. We just don't use it as we should. I also want to share with you America's nuclear target map, so you can find out if you're living in a death zone. Once a nuke is headed your way, you might think that there isn't much left to do, but you would be wrong. Because I'll show you America's natural nuclear bunkers, where you can take cover before it hits. And unlike regular bunkers, which cost a fortune, these natural bunkers are free, well hidden, and EMP-proof. I think every person should know where the closest natural nuclear bunker is to their home. Sometimes shelter is so close, but you have no clue about it. You could be sitting right on top of it this very second. That's just the case in Detroit, where just 1,200 feet below the city is a salt mine outfitted with everything you need and that could easily shelter the entire population of the city. Other cities like Houston and Cleveland are also situated over similar salt mines. In fact, every state has at least 5 natural nuclear bunkers, and probably at least one is within life-saving distance from your house. Hi, my name is Claude Davis, and I'm the editor-in-chief of AskAPrepper.com and author of the Lost Ways series. Even though I'm what people like to call a prepper, I'm by no means one of those doomsday preppers you see on TV. I do like to prepare for an uncertain future, but I like to do it like our grandparents did when they had long-lasting food reserves set aside for winter and other hard times. Back in the day, every household had a root cellar, and it's in there that our forefathers stored their supplies and preserved all the food that they produced, bartered for, or bought. And that's what made them so resilient in any crisis. Nowadays, we rely almost exclusively on electricity to preserve our food, but that electricity may be gone in the blink of an eye if an EMP hits. As a senior, I realized long ago that bugging out in a crisis was no longer an option for me. I'll leave that to the young people who are still able to deal with the many hardships of living isolated in the woods. But even for the young, this should be a last resort. Bugging out to live off the land is a fairy tale most of the time. What are you going to do when 10,000 other folks bug out to your part of the woods? Goodbye, game animals, fish, or edible plants. If someone assumes that bug out to the country, I don't think that country folk are going to be that welcoming of intruders on their property. Bugging out and not belonging to that area could get you in serious trouble. Even if you have only 2 weeks' worth of food and water at home, that is nothing to sneeze at. So my advice is to find a way to stay at home and bug in. Leave only if you really have to. Our grandparents didn't bug out because they had their root cellars, and not only did they keep their food and water supplies for months there, but it was also a place to take shelter when a storm hit or in times of social unrest and chaos, when the area became unsafe. So putting 2 and 2 together, I decided to find a simple way to have my own fortified root cellar, a kind of bunker in my own backyard where I could keep all my survival stuff.